Hey guys, Andy here from Mediocre Hobbies, coming at you with day 4 of Questing Knight week. I don't know why I wiggled my fingers there, but there you So we have done 4 days, or this is the 4th day for Questing Knight week. So we will be doing another one based on one of my Patreons, heraldry. So originally we only had 2 patrons on top tier, and we got their videos done on Tuesday and Wednesday. And now a third person has signed up for the top tier. So I very quickly shifted gear and did their family heraldry for this Thursday's video. Now, they don't particularly have a family crest. I was talking to them back and forth, so we basically figured out as close to real as possible for his color scheme. So we're going to go for a quartered yellow and blue scheme with tridents on his shield, which is really cool. It's supposed to be anchors, but unfortunately I poured through all of my transfers trying to find any anchors, and I could not find any. I thought there might be some in the cities of Sigmar. I thought, if any of you guys know where there's any anchor transfers, because I feel like I have seen them somewhere in my mind, and now I just can't for the life of me find them anywhere, so I don't know. But anyway, this is going to be another fun challenge. The yellow that I'm going to do in this video is basically going to be the same as the one I did in yesterday's video. So when I get to that bit in the video, it's going to kind of flash by really fast. I'm going to go jump through every step. I don't particularly want to go through the entire thing. I'm showing you step by step how to paint exactly the same yellow as I did yesterday, but we will focus on the blue and spend a bit more time on that for you guys. So I'm really excited to chat to you. Now, if you guys are interested in supporting the channel, the easiest way you can do that is, of course, with Patreon. There's links in the description below. You get access to a private Discord server and an extra video every single day. It's basically like a vlog from me, keeping you guys up to date with what's going on in my channel. You guys get to help dictate what I paint, how I paint it, and the direction in which we go with certain projects, which I think is really cool and extra benefit. If that's something that interests you, like I said, linked down below. Okay, without further ado, let's get stuck into this Questing Knight number 4. I did it again, 4. And this is, of course, the Questing Knight in question. That's a funny way of saying that. For day number 4, it is, of course, the musician, because we only have the musician and the champion left. I thought I would leave the champion until the last day, because I think he'll be a really fun one to paint. Now, like I said, we're going to be doing this guy in a quartered yellow and blue scheme. And like I said in the intro, I won't be paying too much attention to the how I painted the yellow, as it's going to be painted the same way that I painted the one yesterday. So if you are curious as to how I painted the yellow, you really like this scheme, you want to maybe copy it or use it on one of your knights or a unit of your knights, you want to follow along, and you're wondering in greater detail how I did the yellow, you can check out the Questing Knight video from day 3. And that will show you everything that you need to know. Now, the very kind gentleman who signed up to Patreon, I was chatting to him last night. I did get a little bit worried when I applied the first 2 coats, and I actually had to go back to Laura and ask her, did I say this guy was from Sweden? And she was like, no, you said he was from Switzerland. I was like, oh, okay, thank God, that's fine. And if anyone can wonder or guess, after I applied the first 2 colors, why I was terrified he was from Sweden, put in the comments below. Maybe another little fun game. You guys seemed to figure out the one yesterday pretty lickety-squick, so I wonder if you can get this one as well. So the Talazar blue that I used as the blue color, I think was the wrong choice. The contrast I chose, I think, was too bright. Talazar is usually something I use for like eye lenses and stuff like that, so I think I would have gone with something darker, kind of more saturated, more just, yeah, something a better starting point, a darker blue and an easier one to highlight. So I think I would have gone for something like Ultramarines blue contrast if I was to redo this. So if you are enjoying this and you want to follow along, like I said, maybe you can check out the Ultramarines blue instead, or if you like the final result and you're happy with it, then just follow them along. Skeleton Horde has been a big lifesaver through the entire process of painting the Questing Knight week, because these guys have so many like parchments and bandages and kind of wraps and stuff all around them, and just painting them with Skeleton Horde has been just such an easy way of getting some kind of block colors on the model. Like, obviously painting the silver parts is super simple. You know the colors you're going to use for the tabards and where's gold and where's silver, but then there's always these like extra gubbins all over these models that sometimes I'm like, oh, I don't even know what this thing is, and sometimes I have just covered it in brown or beige and then highlight it up later on, and you know, almost to hide it as much as it is to paint it. And so far it's been working, so I'm going to continue doing that with anything that I find a little bit bizarre. Like this guy is the musician, and then like the extra pack thing that he has on his back, there's a horn, a violin, a bell, and I think there's one more musical instrument. But there's this random piece poking out of that pile of stuff. I have no idea what it is or what it's the handle of or any of that bits and pieces. So that's where I've literally just like, Xandri Dust, or a little bit of Skeleton Horn, a little bit of Xandri Dust to cover that up. I switched to Gorgrunt of Fur. I didn't want to use the same brown color that I used on the barding and the tack of the horse and the belt of the knight, as of course I did on the musical instruments. I wanted them to be a much warmer, nicer wood. So that's where Gorgrunt of Fur came in. Gorgrunt of Fur has that kind of touch of red to it. So it did work a treat for that. And remembering that there is a violin on his back piece as well. So I painted that to match his lute. Is that a lute he's playing? I'm not particularly good with stringed instruments, or any instruments for that matter, but some kind of ye old guitar thing. So sorry if that offended anyone. And then obviously we went in with our normal lead belcher paint on, blocked in all of the metallic colors. So like I said, I've been really enjoying Questing Knight Week. It's a really nice thing to have this unit come together. I mean, painting 6 knights, like blocks of 6 knights the same color, isn't difficult. Sometimes it can take a little bit of time, but it's not difficult. You can get stuck into a project like that and just get through it. A unit where every single model in the unit's going to be a different color and you don't know which direction you're going to take them is a lot harder to kind of get stuck into. And that unit has been built on the shelf of to be painted Bretonnians, kind of making me nervous. I didn't really know what I was going to do with them. I definitely feel like I've broken the back of my Bretonnian project, and with these Questing Knights now finished, or well, will be finished by the end of tomorrow, I hope. I feel like I'm on like the home stretch of units. I have a whole heap of infantry still to paint, but as goes the knight units, there isn't a lot left, to be honest. Now I plan on building some more. For some reason, I can't help myself. I want a couple more units of knights, at least. I think 2 more units of Knights of the Realm and another unit of Knights Errant will probably see me through doing all the color schemes I want to do. I think I'm definitely going to do an orange and black Knight unit. I'm definitely going to do a red and black Knight unit. And then as for the Knights Errant, I'm not sure. Another fun scheme I'm sure I can find and get done with that. But when these guys are done, I think I've got close to like 40 to 50 knights now painted up fully and on the tabletop, which is kind of insane if you think about starting a project like this. And obviously starting a Bretonnian project is a very daunting process. Like, nobody can take away the fact that painting a Bretonnian army is gonna be a lot of work. And I think you really do have to break it down. If you just put 50 knights in front of you and you start painting the first one, it's going to break your soul. You definitely need to take them one unit, one model at a time. Like I said, these Questing Knights were something that scared me, but I did one a day for a week, and now all of a sudden I have a painted unit, which feels so good. I think that's one of the scariest things when you realize that time passes really fast. So even if you were like, I'm going to paint a knight a day, and you think, oh, it's going to take forever to get that army painted. Before you know it, 2 months have passed and 60 knights are painted, and suddenly it's, you know, that army is done. It's crazy. So yeah, take your time. Please do take a breath when you're painting Bretonnians. There's a lot to do, even with 20-year-old miniatures. There's a lot of surface area, a lot of bright colors, a lot of different details, and then quite a lot of unique units. Now, like I said in one of the previous videos and as well, I'm super excited to get to see this unit finished and see all the different units of knights all together. This is the final like unit of knights that I haven't painted yet. And I don't mean like numerically, I mean like unit type. I've done Knights Errant, you know, Questing Knights, Grail Knights, Pegasus Knights. So it is going to be super cool to line up all 5 of the different knight units that you can create in an Bretonnian army and just see them all together. I think that's going to be a lot of fun. Now, as I said previously, these are the yellows, and you can see I'm just literally flying through. You can see each step kind of take shape more and more and more. And just like in yesterday's video, I started with the yellow contrast, and then I built up through all 3 layers of paint from the Too Thin Coats range to build kind of like a nice strong yellow. Whereas when I jump up to the blue, I don't need to do the base coat because we have a base coat of blue that's quite solid. It has been washed down with Nuln Oil, so it's gone quite dark. So adding the mid-tone, the highlight to that, I think it does enough for the blue. after this, I'm not quite sure how many videos are actually left for my Bretonnian army. I know some people have been asking me to do a unit of peasantry using a man-at-arms, so I potentially will do a man-at-arms model video, and that's a potential. I'm still not 100% sure yet, but the only video I know 100% still has to be made, apart from the beautiful new lady on her unicorn, which still isn't released and still has no release dates. Why? Where is it? Why haven't we got it yet? I don't know. Is my trebuchet. I've actually filmed the opening part of the trebuchet video already when I pulled the old one apart, got it stripped, got all the parts cleaned up, lined up properly, and rebuilt on its new custom base. All 5 crew, the wheelbarrow, the kid with the slingshot, the dog, it's all there, it's all ready to go. And I am super excited to bring that video to you guys at some point in the future. The trebuchet, obviously just being a traditional historical trebuchet, is just a beautiful piece of engineering. It's a really beautiful thing to see on the tabletop. It really stands out. And I think even though I've already done an artillery piece as a video with the bombard, this is something totally different. So I'll potentially bring that video to you guys sometime very soon. I was nervous when I applied the first coat of blue because it sat really flat. And the model started to do that thing that I got nervous about, where it just looks like a child's toy as opposed to a painted miniature, because there's not really a lot of kind of variety in textures. So when I went in for the highlight blue, I definitely went in with that kind of scratchy highlighted technique and tried to basically like pull some detail out of it. The yellow on camera is really hard to see, but there is still scratchy details there. And I did manage to get some texture out of it, and I was happy enough with it in the end. The shield was really cool on his back as well, getting that beautiful big kite shield. It's actually in a nicer shape and pose than all the other Bretonnian shields out there. It really does feel like a proper big tall kite shield. But I don't know, I wish we had more of them, but we didn't. And unfortunately there was too much goblins popping on the front of it that I couldn't get a transfer behind it either. I had originally cut off the top of a transfer, and I was going to put it down on the back of his shield and then try and tuck all the kind of end bits in between all the stuff so it would look like it's coming out of it, but it just wasn't straight enough. It was basically just going to be the middle kind of harpoon bit of the trident poking out, and it just decided not to in the end. Xandri dust, of course, is the thing that comes in on top of all of that skeleton horde. Tidy up all those bed rolls and all those wraps that are wrapped around them and stuff like that. Super simple step. But like I said earlier, it has definitely saved my bacon when it comes to painting these guys on more than one occasion. So I am very grateful for that. Now, do you guys have any suggestions for what we should do for the champion model for the Questing Knight unit? I've had some suggestions out there to try and do an orange and blue one and basically play it off as the Mediocre Hobbies Knight. I get where you're coming from. I think it's an interesting idea. I'd rather do that on a Space Marine, I think. I don't know whether an orange and blue Bretonnian Knight would look all that nice. We have a blue and yellow one here today. I don't know. I think I might try and avoid it. We got the rust brown paint out from Tooth and Coats, and I use that as a highlight color for the violin and the banjo thingy that the actual musical man is holding in his hand. Once again, adding that really warm, rich, reddy brown color for the highlight really helps to make the instrument stand out. Obviously this guy is the musician, so his instrument should stand out a country mile. Ironbreaker, as is tradition, was brought in to highlight all the metallic areas on this knight. All the armor, all the gold trim. He's got a gold circlet around his head. The head of the horse even got a nice big beautiful armored panel, and a gold fleur-de-lis is embossed on the front of that. We got that all highlighted. And of course, dry brush a little bit with the brush over the chainmail just to make that pop. This guy has actually quite a lot of chainmail. I actually gave him kind of leather greaves, not greaves, his wrist forearm protection. Are they greaves? They're greaves. Because and he's got a lot of chainmail on him as opposed to plate armor. And in my head, it's because he needs to be more kind of like free moving, playing all his instruments and stuff like that. So that's why we went ahead with that idea. And of course with the silver as well, highlighting his beautiful helmet on his back, and then some of the details of the musical instrument, his horn and the bell and stuff like that. And as is tradition, we went in with our two thin coats, dwarf and elf flesh, and went in to highlight his face. He's kind of got an ugly face. I wasn't really happy with how his face turned out. think it's the mouth. It's just like a black abyss. I think I need to add some color into that. But with that, we got the trident transfers in place, stuck down and varnished so they would blend in beautifully. There's the yellow and blue next to each other. You can see what the colors they actually look like by themselves. Really happy with the result on those. And then obviously all the gubbins on his back, which take a lot of time. But once it's glued in place, a questing knight really does come into a world of its own. Like, with all the extra equipment, it just looks awesome. They definitely stand out from any other knight unit that exists in the Bretonnian force. And people talk about the idea of just taking the new on foot knights and using the great weapon arms and putting those on knights of the realm and counting them as questing knights. Like, you could do that. It's a perfectly acceptable representation. It is an armored dude on a horse with a great weapon, but without all of their like stuff, all the stuff they travel with and they bring around with. These guys don't like, these are on the move, on the march, on the hunt for epic deeds, so they can be noticed by the Lady of the Lake, so they can, you know, become a Grail Knight or whatever. So yes, you can do that. Would I do it? No, I don't think it suits the aesthetic. I think it's almost a little bit of a, I don't know, it's just, I don't know, it doesn't pull off the questing knight look for me. I think they deserve a little bit more reverence and a little bit more respect. Like I said, I will be on the hunt for the 4 missing rarer questing knight sculpts that do exist, so I can turn this unit of 6 into unit of 10. That is going to be an expensive and long process trying to get those, and I will catalog them for you guys, maybe just for my Patreons, as each one of those does start to arrive. Well, I haven't started ordering any of them yet, but when they do start to arrive, I think I will do that, and I think it will be a lot of fun. Okay guys, there we have it. The 4th questing knight has now been added to the unit. Thankfully, although it is blue, there's enough yellow on it that it doesn't look like a Power Ranger. So I've kind of broken that look yesterday for most people who caught it. When it was just the pink, the red and the yellow, it did look like I was painting the Power Rangers. So luckily we have veered away from that a little bit now. Not that I've anything against the Power Rangers, but you know. So very pleased. As you can see, 4 of the 6 are now fully painted. The 5th one, which will be painted on Twitch stream this evening, so that will be finished by the end of tonight. So that will be the 5th one, and then the final one, the champion of the unit, will be painted tomorrow, Friday. I have no idea what I'm doing for a color scheme on that one just yet. So if you guys want to contribute to that, let me know. Unless somebody signs up to the highest tier Patreon between now and then, in which case I will do their family crest. But that's unlikely, so I'm more than likely gonna have to pick a cool color scheme. So yeah. Like I said, maybe you guys can help me with that. If you liked the video, make sure you give it a like. Ask me any question you want in the comments below. I will get back to absolutely everybody. And make sure you're subscribed to the channel. It is literally one press of a button. That means nothing to you and it means everything to us as creators. It's very important. And with me, I will be giving away a Titan at the end of 2024 to one of my subscribers. So all you need to do to be in a chance to win is hit subscribe. Okay, thank you guys so much for sticking around to the end of the video. I'll see you in the next one.